Hello, everyone. In part 3 of our project, we need to pick the sketch that we want to use to be the foundation for our vector artwork and create a new document in Illustrator and load in that sketch as a template and get started on the process of outlining. So let's start by clicking the button to create a new document. We have a couple of different options here. These document settings are ones that I have found that work well. We might not need it to be this big. I'm actually going to pick web format to get started in so that I've got pixels, I've got RGB color. Actually, I'm going to switch my resolution here to a high pixels per inch. I'm going to change these to 2048 by 2048. If you find that for some reason things really aren't lining up the way you want them to, you may need to start over on this document, come back and change to inches setting instead of pixels, and go ahead and just set this as something like I had before of 8 inches by 8 inches. But we're going to go ahead and try to create it here to potentially keep the file size a little bit smaller for us. Maybe even before we go in, let's go ahead and pick a name for this. I'm going to title mine Merrig Playlist Cover V1. You can use your name and the same ending and click Create. When it loads, the first thing we're going to do is place a template. Sometimes the templates come in small, sometimes they come in big. I'm going to, just in case it comes in pretty big, already shrink my artboard size down a little bit. Then I'm going to go to File, Place. I'm looking for something in my Downloads folder. And I remember this file name is the one that goes with the Jpeg image that I had for putting on the Google Slides earlier, so I'll go ahead and click on that one. Oh, actually, I'm going to cancel that. Just go back in, click on this. I forgot to tick my box for template there, so I'm going to go back and tick that, and then come down here and hit place. And it goes in. It actually isn't too big because I really want just one of these squares to be filling up my whole artboard. So I'm going to actually need to enlarge this even a little bit. And I guess I should have probably decided which one I wanted to use ahead of time. I'm going to rotate this template. So I'm going to need to go into the layer menu and unlock it. Get my selection tool, rotate, holding down the Shift key. This is right side up for the way that I drew them. And then I'm going to kind of get that one lined up down there in the corner. Hold down Shift while I stretch this out. It's got to be a little bit bigger. And even a little bit bigger still. So I need to zoom out a little bit. Grab this corner again. Drag it up. It's a little bit too big. Drag it back a little bit. A little bit more. And then Yeah, that looks good. I'm going to lock the template back down, go back to layer 1, and go ahead and zoom in on what I have here. I can hit Control-0, and that'll center my artboard. And I'm focusing in on what's right here. So the drawing itself wasn't quite square, not really surprising since we freehand drew our boxes for these sketches. So a lot of the placement of lines in this case, the template is just showing us what our idea is all at once, but we're going to have to use other guides to help us make sure we're getting everything in the places where we want them. So I actually, we're going to have to draw some extra lines. We'll get rid of them when the time is right. So I'm going to start here with my pen tool because I want to get these main diagonals drawn. So I know I have this one that I want to go from corner to corner there. When I want to be done with my pen tool, I can just hold down the Control button and click. I want to draw my line across that other direction, so I'm going to click up in that corner, head down here to where it intersects again, and then Control click to be done. Let's see. Might be hard to decide exactly where we want some of these other straight lines to be until we get our circles drawn. So I'm going to switch over to my circle or ellipse tool now. If I want to draw a circle out from the middle, remember that's going to be Alt and Shift. Alt to pull from the middle and Shift to make sure that it's a circle. Pull that out. Noticing that my circle has a fill that I don't want, so I'll just switch that to no fill. Then kind of head to some of these other places and I want that to go right to the edge up at the top. And I'm going to want this circle to fill in all the gap there. That one might need to get a little bit of careful recentering in the future. Remember Control Z if you get something drawn that wasn't quite where you want it and you just want to start over. Let's see, I think I've got all my circles drawn. Try to select this one. A little bit more into the position I want. Maybe use my arrow keys to move it around a little bit. And then I have a few more lines I want to add in with my pen tool. So switch back there. Go from this anchor straight up to the middle here, straight out to the side. Not sure how we're going to deal with lining that up quite yet. That's going to go then straight down to intersect with that line. Control click. Then Oops. Don't want to click and drag with my pen tool, or I start drawing a curve. So Control Z to get rid of that. Just want to click right here, come straight down to intersect with the edge of the page. Control click again, get this one. Going over here. Actually, let me go ahead and get rid of that one. I want these to be perfectly parallel with each other, so I'm going to need to maybe zoom out a little bit and select this path, Alt to copy. I'm just going to drag it down here to where it lines up with where I want that one to be. I think that's about right. And then I'm going to Alt and drag again to put it up here. Right at the edge of that circle, I think is where I want that one. All right, so just a second, we might turn our template off so we can see what we have so far. I know that there are some extra things going on in this, so I want to be able to have the template on to go ahead and finish those up, but let's stop for now. When you're done outlining the artwork, and you might notice that in order to get mine placed in ways that worked and not spend a lot of extra time kind of shuffling things around, stretching them and compressing them and trying to make it fit, it was helpful to add a grid onto this if you want to get some instruction on how to carry that out on a separate layer that you can see here that's built and then locked. You can reach out to me directly about that, and I'll give you some suggestions. Before I get ready to export this, I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's saved in its current form. Then I'm going to turn off my template and this grid layer that I have so that I'm just seeing the outlines that I think that I want to have as part of my final product, although in the end, we're going to do a no stroke and just fill on this. But for now, it'll actually maybe be helpful to come in and select all of this stuff and maybe bump up the stroke weight a little bit just to make it easier to see, like that. It'll all come off later anyway. And then I want to export this as a JPEG. So File menu, Export As. Make sure you're picking a folder here. This is my examples folder for our class. Make sure you're picking a folder that you are going to remember where you're putting this. And I'll just keep that title the same. I'm going to say use artboards in case I have any stray marks on here, since I just want to include what's actually on my artboard, and hit export. I think we'll probably be safe at 72 ppi for these, and kind of defaults to this type optimized. If we don't have any type on our document, then art optimized is probably a better choice for us, although it's not really critical for the work that we're doing here. We can click OK. That export should be done in a couple of seconds, and that will be the file that we're going to go find with our Google Slides to add into the next stage of that slide document that will get uploaded to Canvas, or re-embedded, I guess. So good luck with that, and I look forward to seeing this next step in your process.